Hello, my name is Owen. Today I'll be doing a quick review of George R.R. Martin's A Storm of Swords. What I want to do is give a brief overview of what the book is about, tell you things that I liked, and tell you things that I didn't like. For those of you that don't know, this is the third book in A Song of Ice and Fire, the famous Game of Thrones series. I had watched the show, all 8 seasons of it, and this is my first time going through the books, and so far, I'm very much enjoying it. I would say that this book is by far my favorite of the series so far. In terms of things that I didn't like, practically nothing, and I feel like when I finish a book, I always love every part of it. But looking in retrospect, back at the first 2 books, one of the bigger issues I had with them was the structure in terms of like switching POV characters. Because a lot of times in books like this, I'm super engrossed in a certain character's point of view and their story. Then I turn the page, next chapter, and it's a different character on a different continent, and I'm like, can I just stay with them for just a little bit longer? And it's frustrating and kind of like takes my momentum out. This was greatly reduced in this book, and I feel like it's because it was structured slightly differently than the others, and I might just be like, that's just how it felt to me, but it felt to me that a lot of POVs were relegated to sections of the book rather than having like 7 characters on a rotation throughout the entire book, if that makes sense. So for example, I felt like Daenerys' storyline was segmented really to like the first half of the book, and then the middle section of the book, she really didn't appear at all. And then she had a couple chapters towards the back half, and then the ending just also didn't have any of her. And honestly, it was very refreshing. Like the middle section, like I said, where she didn't appear, and it was like mostly like King's Landing. So it was like Tyrion and it was Jaime, and that's basically it. And like maybe some Arya like sprinkled in, but not really. And I think that was a lot more seamless transition for characters, because like spending a long time in one place rather than like jumping continents like every 3rd chapter just made for like a lot more engrossing story. In the moments where they did switch POVs, it felt like natural turning points, or natural switching points rather. And then I was ready to go into the next story and like catch up with that character again. So overall, I just felt like it was a lot more of a seamless transition from each POV character. So that's something I think this book really improved on from the others. All the reasons why this book is good, it has the most climactic book-ending moments just scattered throughout the entire book. This book could have ended with the Red Wedding, the death of Robb Stark and Catelyn Stark. Could have ended there, but it didn't. Could have ended with Joffrey's death. It didn't. Could have ended with the Mountain versus Oberyn fight. It didn't. Could have ended with the death of Tywin. It kind of did at that point. And then also there's the events like Littlefinger killing Lysa, killing her. Like that was another huge moment. Also just like small reveals like Jorah Mormont getting banished after like his like betrayal was revealed, the reveal of Barristan Selmy and Daenerys' guard, anything like the Hound and Arya do, like them finally splitting off and like her leaving Westeros. Like it's all so good, and like it all could have like been like the ending of the book, or the climactic moment of the book rather, but they're all in here, and it's so crazy how much like is packed in here. And also, let's not forget, like, Jon Snow's whole story, like with the wildlings, and then the betrayal, and then, like, Ygritte's death, and then Mance Rayder's destruction by Stannis coming to save the day. It all happened in the same book. And it's only, like, 1,100 pages. I've read longer fantasy books where less has happened. And it's just incredible how dense this story is with fantastic moments. And I have to say, another factor that took me over the edge was Jaime Lannister. He is by far my favorite POV character. It used to be Tyrion, and he's still great, don't get me wrong, but when his like first like appearances in like Clash of Kings, I'm like, man, this man is so sinister, and I love it. What a great villain. But I knew his redemption arc was coming, but I didn't think he'd be such a prominent POV character. But getting inside his head, he's such a fascinating character, and I just loved like his internal struggle and like battling his own like biases from like his way he was raised and how he thinks about himself, challenged by like him being like emasculated by losing his hand and like losing his purpose, and like family dynamics. It's all so good, and I gained a lot of respect for him as a character, and he was so fun to read, and I hope that he's just as prominent in the next 2 books. But which brings me to the final part of the video, is where I'm ranking the top 3 best knights right now, in my opinion, in Westeros history. Honorable mention, first one goes to the Hound. If you call him a knight, he'll probably, if I call him a knight, he'd probably kill me. We all know this. But man, what a great character. What a great character. I love him so much. He's like, he's literally like the definition of like when like dads don't want a dog, but then they end up like loving it the most out of anyone, except like he's like that with like being a good person. So he's like, I'm the worst. Like, I'm literally the worst. I'll kill everyone. But then like when time comes up, he's like, all right, I'll do the right thing because like I'm actually good inside. That's what he reminds me of. And he's just like so funny. And like his relationship with Arya is like one of my favorite dynamics, especially from the show, but in the books too. It's like so good. So he's my honorable mention. Coming in at number 3, Jaime Lannister, right? Obviously, he's the Kingslayer. He's a known piece of crap, especially, and he's like straight up a villain for the first 2 books. But once he loses his hand in like his relationship with Brienne growing, it's just so good. Actually, I forgot, and you know what? I'm moving him down. He's also an honorable mention because number 3's got to be Brienne. Brienne of Tarth. How could I put Jaime above Brienne? You can't. So I'm moving him down to also an honorable mention, but Jaime Lannister, his internal conflict when he becomes Lord Commander of the Kingsguard and he goes, you know what? I've done some crappy things in my life. I don't like how I've turned out. I don't like the relationship with my family. My father uses me. My sister uses me. Like my brother is like in prison, about to be executed. I'm going to be Lord Commander. Screw my inheritance. This is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it honorably from now on. He sends Brienne on her way. He frees Tyrion. He does everything he can to try to right his wrongs. And I have a lot of respect for him for that. And I think he's on a great path. I mean, I know the show goes, but I don't really know how much it differs from the book, but I got a lot of promise for him. Number 3, Brienne of Tarth. Relentless. The definition of relentless. She is so badass, and like, she's like fun to read too, because it's like the stereotypical, oh, I will do what's right no matter what character, but like the fact that like, it's also playing into like the gender norms and like her fighting like just like general sexism, but also like the fact of, she was in love with Renly, but Renly's dead, so like when she gets King Landing and like Loras is there and like the dynamics there and her trying to like prove her own honor, and she's like, okay, well I gotta serve Lady Catelyn, but like she's dead, and now what do? I don't know where the daughters are. Like she doesn't get as much screen time as I would like her to have, but she like, you can't discredit her honor. She comes in at number 3. Number 2, Sir Barristan Selmy, right? We haven't seen much of him since he was removed from the Kingsguard by Joffrey, but now he appears as Whitebeard. And I knew he came back from the show, but I did not put like the connection together. Like I'm like, oh, this like old guy with the stick, long beard. Whoa, weird old guy alert. And then like it's like the reveal that he was Barristan Selmy. I literally did not expect it, and I'm an idiot for that because I literally knew that he appeared. Obviously a badass. He's like 60 years old, still kicking butt. You know, you can't doubt his honor. You can't doubt his skill. And he finally got his sword back because he wanted it presented by the queen. Daenerys gave it to him. He's going to kick some serious butt. He redeemed himself in the sewers, taking the city. I can't remember the city's name right now. But he's number 2 greatest knight. Number 1 greatest knight in Westeros right now, where I'm at on the 3rd book, Storm of Swords. Without a doubt, hands down, the Onion Knight, Sir Davos Seaworth. This man goes through so much to receive so little. Listen, his only flaw is that he likes Stannis. I can't say I like Stannis very much. Like, I get it, like, he is the rightful heir to the throne, technically, right? But, like, listen, come on. Like, we all know Robert stole it first, so, like, the laws of succession are kind of flimsy to begin with. But whatever, technically, you're the heir to the throne. But also, like, technically, like, you're kind of, like, weird. You're kind of weird, bro. Like, I get, like, the Lord of Light is basically the only god that, like, is doing overt magic right now. So, like, maybe you're, like, an inclination. And, like, Melisandre did, like, the leeches thing. And, like, all the kings happened to die. Which is pretty crazy and I'm not saying it was a coincidence either. Like, I'm sure, like, the Lord of Light had something to do with it. But the fact that, like, oh, like, so the next step is, like, I'm going to kill, like, a child. That's, like, the next step. And you're supposed to be, like, the honorable, like, I just do what's just. You're supposed to be that guy? I don't buy it. But anyway, Davos Seaworth, he said he was loyal to this guy, and he's like, you know what? I said I was loyal. He gave me my life, gave me the lordship. I'm going to be loyal to this guy no matter what it takes, even if that means telling you as in Stannis, that you're an idiot. And he does it countless times, and what does he get for it? Most of his sons killed in the Battle of the Blackwater, gets thrown in prison, like almost straight up dies. But then Stannis finally gets some sense in him. He's like, okay, this is my hand. And then he frees Edric Storm, sends him off. And then he's like, okay, kill me then. Like, what's best for you, King Stannis, is to not kill children. Such a base to take. And then Stannis is like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to, like, burn you alive or whatever he was going to do. And he's like, psych, save Jon Snow, kill the wildlings. Great idea. 1,000 IQ plan. This man, by far, like, the most pure character. And I'm rooting for him so hard. He's so good. He's the best knight. I don't care about one-on-one sword skills. Don't be common in that. I don't care. The Onion Knight takes them all. Just by his pure, like, aura. You can't kill him. He's invincible. He lost his fingers in the river. It's because he's God. And he's swallowed them up. I don't know. But he's the best, all right? Confirmed number 1. Honorable mentions, Hound, Jaime, Brienne, Barristan Selmy, the Onion Knight. It's definitive, and you can't argue with me. There's no other knights that are relevant to me. Sir Loras, thought you were cooler in the show, if I'm being honest. Now you're just kind of like, you're lame. You're lame. The Mountain, we all know you're straight up a villain. You're a villain. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for sticking around for my rant. Let me know what your ranking is, though. Maybe bring in some past ones. Sir Arthur Dayne. Don't know much about the lore, but apparently he's pretty cool. Let me know. Thanks.